Off-road racing is a great way to get an adrenaline rush, test your driving skills, and challenge the most difficult tracks. But what if the lack of a car or banal laziness prevent you from taking part in real races? The solution to the problem is obvious: to play off-road racing and defeat virtual rivals. Well, in choosing the best games in the genre, our selection will help you. Dakar 18, a rally simulator that will delight fans of the genre with a wide variety of vehicles, from motocross motorcycles to heavy trucks. The game is set in South America, which means that impressive mountain, desert, and savanna landscapes await you. Dakar 18 will appeal to both beginners and hardcore players. Flexible difficulty allows you to customize the gameplay to any preference. If you wish, you can turn off navigators and indicators and rely only on your skills, just like participants in real rally races do. The bonus is beautiful graphics and excellent detailing of the environment. Monster Jam Steel Titans, almost the only off-road monster truck racing game of its kind. The developers have prepared several types of tests, a lot of cars and a variety of tracks, flavored all this with reliable physics and the ability to twist somersaults on a huge auto monster. Of course, Monster Jam Steel Titans loses out to many competitors in the genre, the lack of content types, but it's a pretty fun game that can captivate for a couple of evenings. Forza Horizon 4. One of the best arcade racing games uses the concept of the seasons, in which the game periodically changes from summer to autumn, then comes winter, which is replaced by spring and again summer. Accordingly, each of the seasons brings changes to the game map. In winter, everything is covered with snow, and cars become less manageable, and in spring and autumn, dirt and puddles rule off the roads. Many races in Forza Horizon 4 take place off-road, and in the open world you can move around by ignoring the tracks. The main thing is to choose the right car. It is unlikely that a low Ferrari will perform well in the Spring Abyss. Fortunately, the fleet in the game has more than 600 cars, so even the most demanding racer will find his option. Need for Speed Payback is Ghost Game's attempt at Fast and Furious, a story-driven heist and street racing game. It turned out not perfect, but very interesting, and you can happily spend a couple of dozen hours in the project. Races in Payback are divided into several categories, one of which is off-road racing. For this case, the game even requires separately tuning cars, and any models are subject to customization. No one forbids turning the Beetle or Porsche into a powerful SUV. Drag, an arcade racing game in which players will pilot custom cars, while the physics model simulates independent suspension and soft body tires. Single and multiplayer races are available in Drag, and the developers periodically launch special events for the community. Not a bad indie race, but there are not enough active players in it. Pure Rock Crawling. Not so much a race as an off-road simulator based on a realistic simulation of the car's suspension and tires. Players are waiting for rocky paths, forests, and hilly deserts, which they have to overcome behind the wheel of off-road vehicles. The authors of the project have done a lot of work to implement a reliable gameplay, and it will be very difficult to conquer the local tracks. You will have to compete not with other players, but with an inexorable timer that gives only 5 minutes to complete the stage. Offroad Horizons, arcade rock crawling. Another rocky track simulator with nice low-poly graphics and serious physics that can challenge even the most experienced players. Offroad Horizons, arcade rock crawling, features a large selection of maps and cars, authentic suspension simulation traditional for games of this genre, as well as support for keyboard and gamepad control. You can't do without the latter, which allows you to carefully adjust the car's acceleration. Offroad Mania. Again, a game about overcoming obstacles. Offroad Mania highlights a minimalistic style. The developers did not draw beautiful backdrops and detailed environments, limiting themselves to tracks hanging in space with objects scattered on them. The unsightly visual design does not negate the fact that the game boasts moderately complex, well-researched gameplay. The tests are addictive, the modes keep you busy. Try to complete the tracks only with a view from the cockpit, and the cars differ from each other in performance. Overpass, a hardcore racing simulator that adds challenging off-roading to the actual racing. You'll have to climb sheer walls, jump off trampolines, and overcome deep pits. And all this, competing with virtual and live opponents, including in split-screen mode. Overpass has a large selection of cars, a career mode, and multiplayer. A good game for those who decide to challenge the difficulties. Baja, Edge of Control HD, a remaster of the 2008 off-road racing game. The updated version received support for 4K resolution, high-definition textures, improved detail, and high frame rate per second. In terms of gameplay, here Baja, Edge of Control HD offers races on a variety of tracks on off-road vehicles, of which there are more than 160 models. Cars need to be repaired and can be tuned, and you have to compete with both AI and other players on a split screen and online. In the Arizona Derby, not quite ordinary cars lead the tracks. Sports cars, in the design of which Lamborghini, Pagani, Mercedes, and other top cars are easily guessed. The developers obviously saved on car licensing, so fictitious brands are used here, are planted on an off-road base with huge wheels and high ground clearance. This is necessary to overcome difficult tracks, which have practically no paved sections, and the developers have prepared a variety of conditions, from mud to snowy terrain. The game boasts a positive rating, but it lacks multiplayer. In Lonely Mountains, downhill, you'll get on a bike and challenge the mountain slopes, which you have to race with the breeze. The routes are very difficult. Barely noticeable paths, jumps, abysses, and other natural obstacles await you. The game uses a fairly realistic physical model, and the bike obediently follows the rider's commands. In addition, the developers regularly release updates and DLC, delighting players with new challenges. Finally, the project will definitely appeal to fans of the low-poly style. Riders Republic by Ubisoft is a massive multiplayer game that challenges gamers to take on extreme rides on vehicles ranging from snowboards and wingsuits to snowmobiles and motorbikes. The authors are preparing many modes and events, among which a racing competition with a common start stands out. Up to 50 players rush to the finish line, so on a bike, so on a motorcycle, and so on a paraglider. The game world matches the spirit of extreme sports. Legendary places of the USA are collected within one huge park: Bryce Canyon, Yosemite Valley, Mammoth Mountain, and others. Heavy Duty Challenge, a simulator dedicated to off-road conquest. Sitting behind the wheel of one of the powerful trucks, players will go on tracks where steep slopes, rocky areas, impassable swamps, and other obstacles alternate. The developers promise a reliable physical model and realistic controls, more than 10 trucks and 5 tracks inspired by real locations. Truck Mechanic, Dangerous Paths is similar to SnowRunner, but on a smaller scale. There are not many cars here, and the scope is limited to the roads of South America, on which players will deliver the goods. However, this does not mean that the game will not offer interesting gameplay. The tracks are difficult, cars break down, and the ability to set up a camping workshop and repair a truck right in the field is impressive. It remains to be hoped that it greatly realize all the promises in the final version of the project. Off-Road Transport Simulator, another cargo transportation simulator that takes players through harsh off-road conditions. The authors are preparing a whole sandbox with an open world, where gamers will complete contracts, earn money, expand their fleet, and customize cars. Off-Road Transport Simulator looks promising, but it is not yet clear in what form the game will get to release and whether it will get there at all. There has been no news from the developers for a long time. Mad Max is not a racing game. Mad Max is action, but the setting of the game obliges us to give it a separate place in the selection. The post-apocalyptic world, which has turned into a desert, is in itself off-road, in which only outlines remain of the roads. In addition, in Mad Max, you spend about half of the game time behind the wheel of a car, and if you wish, you can also take part in racing races across the wasteland. And I must say, the car gameplay is better implemented here than in other projects dedicated exclusively to racing. If your favorite game is not included in this list, write in the comments. Thanks for watching. Join this channel to get access to perks. Subscribe, watch our other videos, press thumbs up, turn on notifications, and you will always be aware of what to play today.